I've just bought myself a new diesel tractor. It's a David Brown 990. Cost me $500. It's got a 3-way back blade. I think it'll be quite useful for grading the tracks and the driveway. I've got a 6 kilometre driveway here, so I think once I get it up and running it'll be perfect for that. It is in pretty rough shape. It's going to take quite a bit of work to get it operational again. It's got no starter motor, so it has to be jump started at the moment. The guy I bought it off, he had to park it on a hill and roll it down the hill to jump start it. It's a bit of a interesting wiring scenario going on there. Shorting out every which way. It obviously hasn't been very well looked after. But everywhere you look, something needs doing to it. Check out the seat. It's the tetanus model. She's definitely seen better days. You gotta watch how you sit on it. It's been sitting outside for a long time, so it's pretty rusty, and also you see there's no boot on those gear levers, so the oil looks like chocolate milk, so that'll be one of the first things I do to it. Changed all the oils and filters. She's been neglected for a long time, the poor old girl. This valve bank here has been plumbed in to lift the 3-point linkage, so I don't quite know why they've abandoned this side of it. It's probably a good reason. But I mean, it seemed to go alright once he got it going. He said it does like a bit of go-go juice. So it's got its own engine start holder there, so that's probably not a good sign, and a special port there to spray it into. So it's probably addicted to it. These old David Browns don't have a glow plug that I can see, which would make it easier to start. But once it was running, it wasn't too bad. You know, the tyres aren't too bad. That radiator needs a good blowout. Got lights hanging off it, and the air filter's gone, so I have to get another one of those. But they're pretty solid old tractors, so I think if I give it a bit of a tidy up and change all the fluids and filters, it should be a good one, hopefully. There's no water in the oil or anything, and it is holding engine oil and coolant, so I think it's got good bones. It just needs a lot of work to bring it back to where it should be. And obviously none of the gauges work. They're long gone, so I wouldn't have a clue how many hours it's done. But it's got no brakes whatsoever, so that'll be one of the first things I have to fix. Alright, my friend gave me the starter motor. I think it's off a 1290, but he said it should fit. Cost me a box of beers, not a bad deal. So I'll see if I can get it in there. That's a real tight squeeze in there, because these pipes are rigid. There's not a lot of leeway. I think this one must be quite a bit longer than the original. It seems to mesh up alright, so one. And it looks slight positive to the alternator. So that can go on there as well. And so it's just turning over, no problems, but just not firing. So the previous owner told me it does need the engine start formula, but it can do all sorts of damage to engines, so I like to avoid it when I can. So I'll get a heat gun and fire it into this inlet manifold port, and hopefully the warm air mixed with the fuel will just be enough to get it going. Alright, so I've ordered some new parts for it, new seat, filters, and the boots for the gear levers, so I'll put those on. I wonder it's hard to start. It's disgusting. That's the diesel filters changed. I ordered a full filter kit for this tractor, but they only sent me one fuel filter, so luckily I had another one lying around the same size. That first one on the right here is a lot dirtier because that's the first in line, so it catches most of the dirt, and the second one is just to catch any that the first misses. So even though that second one was fairly clean, I changed it anyway because I don't know how long since its last service. Probably quite a while by the look of it. That's the fuel filters done, so I'll move over to the other side and we'll do the sediment bowl. Alright, that was quite filthy. I think it's got the diesel bug in there. It looked like some sort of fungus, so I'll put some treatment in there and hopefully it kills it. I had to do that quite quickly because there's no shut-off valve for the fuel. When I took it off, it was just draining the tank, so I just had to quickly give it a clean out and do it back up. This one doesn't have a fuel tap. So that's the sediment bowl done. I'll have to bleed the whole fuel system now to get all the air out of it, because otherwise the engine won't start if there's air locks in the lines. Let's take that air filter off and have a look. It's an oil bath type, so there should be some oil in the bottom of there. Alright, that seems to be starting better. Changing those filters has made a huge difference, I think. It's able to suck the fuel through easier. So it's still a bit smoky, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. It seems to clear a bit as it warms up, so the injectors probably need doing, but I won't worry about it for now. I'll change the gearbox oil now and filter. So while that's draining out, I'll try and get that seat off. It looks fairly well rusted in, so could be difficult. Those bolts are so rusted away that the heads are just stripping off, so I'll have to cut them out. So that's a prime example of why we want to change our filters regularly. You can see I think what's happened is the filter is clogged up and the pressure's been too much for it, and it's pushed a hole in it and collapsed the whole filter. So that hasn't been filtering anything for a long time. See, we've got bits of metal in there, which is not ideal. Anyway, I'll clean it up and put the new filter in and see how we go. Alright, so that's the bypass filter and the magnet. That piece there is magnetic, so it traps any metal flakes that pass through the bypass filter. So I'll clean all that up. Okay, it's ready to go. All the filters and oils changed. There's still a few things that need doing, like I'll flush the radiator and refill it with new coolant, hydraulic steering filter, but I have to buy some oil before I do that, so I'll do that next week. We'll see how it starts now after changing all the oils and filters. Hopefully it makes a difference. Bearing in mind before it was impossible to start without engine start spray or applying heat to the intake manifold port, so hopefully it's a bit better now.